undoubtedly the availability of hydrotreated vegetable oil, known by the abbreviation of HVO. That, in one fell swoop, offers the chance to go boating with greatly reduced emissions using a product that is more than 90% carbon neutral.
I see the most exciting development as electric propulsion. This can be applied in quite a number of ways, but even with the sort of fairly simple one of having a generator, a bank of batteries and an electric motor, it's possible to save something like 2/3 of the diesel that a diesel engine would burn, making the boat intrinsically greener from the word go. And there are other developments just around the corner involving fuel cells and things, which could easily increase that saving to 80+%. So to me, that's definitely the most exciting thing around at the moment.
As Malcolm has already said, the most exciting development is electric drive, but the most exciting thing about that is most of the technologies we need, whether you're talking battery technology, motor technology, hydrogen fuel cells, all of those things are being developed for road use and are easily transferable into the marine environment, particularly on the inland waterways. I think there are two. I think the first barrier is the availability of means of refueling a green boat. Whether you talk about a battery-powered boat or whether you talk about a hydrogen-powered boat, and the boat we envisage for the future can use both technologies in the same craft, there will need to be an infrastructure around the canal network to recharge batteries or to refuel hydrogen boats. And I think that is going to be the biggest barrier to getting that technology brought forward. The other big barrier to greener boats is the fact that boats last a long time, and boats can last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So many of the boats that we've currently got around are going to be with us for a long time, and they're going to be running on diesel. There is a solution. It's called hydrogenated vegetable oil, which most, if not all, current narrowboat engines, but inland waterways engines will run on. And that could well be the solution to that problem. But the existing fleet is going to be a big barrier to green boating.
I think there are a number of barriers. Bowman has already mentioned the two strategic ones, but taking a shorter term view, the principal one is cost. An electrical drive system is going to set you back between 2 and 3 times what a diesel installation would if you buy it as a package. You can reduce that significantly by buying components from different suppliers and mixing and matching, but it's still going to cost you more than a diesel. That said, you will make considerable savings on your fuel use, so it will pay you back over time. The other one is the fear of the unknown, basically. People regard electric drive systems as being complex and difficult to understand. In fact, they're very simple. You have a generator connected to a charger, connected to a battery, connected to a motor, and providing that the voltages match and you can calculate the thickness of the cable, or the electrician who's doing the job for you can calculate the thickness of the cable, there's no problem. So just go for it.
We have a waterway system populated by boats driven by diesel engines at the moment, with a few of the more enlightened boaters using electric drive. Before the rest of us can reach that point, which might be 20 or 30 years down the line, we've still got an awful lot of diesel engines to fuel. We've identified a solution, an interim solution here in the form of HVO. But the problem that revolves around that is that of supply and demand. It's the age-old syndrome, really, and tied up with that, of course, is cost. So, hydrotreated vegetable oil is available from limited suppliers in the country. We'll also supply it on a pallet in either 205 litre drums or 1,000 litres IBCs. But of course, that again will add to the cost penalty. I believe that boaters probably are a fairly environmentally friendly lot. So I'd hope that with a greater awareness of the fuel, the demand will go up, and so the supply will increase. And from that, I would like to think that the cost will come down.
Running an electrically powered boat using shore charging is not viable at the moment. There are a few charging points on the Thames and even fewer charging points on the canal system, but mostly it's necessary to go into a marina and pay for a night's mooring to charge a boat, and the cost of the mooring makes it uneconomical. Consequently, boats need to carry their own power source, which at the moment means a generator. This isn't a problem because the boats are so efficient, using typically a third as much diesel as one would for ordinary propulsion. If one uses HVO as the fuel, you're down to a sort of 97% carbon-free boat. So I'm quite happy with that for the moment.
A question that is often asked is, are we likely to see multiple different types of charging points on the waterways, like there is for electric vehicles on the road? And we very much hope that navigation authorities, local authorities and others will work together to ensure consistency across various projects that are already underway, and so that all boats will be able to use all electric charging points. Charging points, in fact, only need to be the current electric hookup blue sockets that boaters are used to using in marinas. And these can be used not just by electric boats needing to recharge their batteries for propulsion, but also by any boater wishing to charge domestic batteries without running their engine.
I think the initial concern of any boater using a different fuel in their engine might be that it will in some way impact on the warranty that the engine manufacturer would be offering on the engine. And I think there's a couple of points to make. First of all, it's important to distinguish between the two different types of biodiesel that are around. First of all, there is the biodiesel, which is identified by the 4 letters FAME, FAME, and that is now a component part of all the fuels that you can buy to put in your car, diesel fuels that is, or to fuel a boat with. And that, as we know, has several problems revolving around diesel bug and a certain sticky substance that can block up various components in the engine. So that is known as first generation biodiesel, and really it doesn't have a place in the marine environment. More recently, we have a totally different product. It's a biofuel, but it's made by a totally different process. It has none of the problems associated with its first generation cousin. Indeed, it's somewhat superior to mineral diesel. And as such, a boater shouldn't have any concerns whatsoever using it in their engine. They can be confident that it carries the approval of the engine manufacturer, or where an engine's been marinized, it carries the approval of the manufacturer of that base engine, wherever they are in the world, basically.
Here are IWA's top tips for being a greener boater. Number 1, consider buying a solar panel or two to keep your batteries topped up, instead of running your engine while you are moored. Top tip number 2, if you burn logs on a solid fuel stove, make sure that they are all dry and well seasoned. Top tip number 3, while you are boating along, don't try to go too fast, as you will just burn more fuel, and particularly on shallow canals, you'll find that you won't go any faster anyway. Top tip number 4, if you can, turn your engine off when stationary, such as when you're queuing for locks. This will save you lots of fuel as well as improving the air that you breathe. Top tip number 5, IWA will be campaigning to get the cost of alternative fuels, such as HVO, down. But in the meantime, if you can afford to pay a little bit extra for your fuel, you could consider using it straight away.